radiocarpal fractures. I will start with the fracture of styloid process of the radius, which has another name, the chauffeur's fracture, because in the past chauffeurs used to run their cars by starting handle. Okay, and what happens that sometimes this handle kicks back. Chauffeurs try to start the handle in this direction, for example, and the handle just kicks back in the counter direction, leading to applying a pressure on scaphoid bone. This pressure on scaphoid bone will compress the styloid process of the radius, leading to styloid process fracture or chauffeur's fracture. Okay, typically the styloid process fracture is a transverse fracture extending laterally from the articular surface of the radius. Okay, laterally from the transverse process of the radius. I will show you some X-rays that explain this. Okay, radial styloid also can be fractured as a part of serious fracture that we call transscaphoid perilunate fracture. Transscaphoid perilunate fracture. This is scaphoid bone and this is lunate bone. We have some type of fracture that is transscaphoid perilunate fracture that is associated with radial styloid process fracture. Okay, let's just show you some X-rays. We can see here the styloid process fracture. It is transverse fracture that extends laterally to the articular surface of the radial head. Again, this is a styloid process fracture of the radius. Styloid process fracture of the radius. Chauffeur's fracture is corrected initially by close reduction, and rest is held in ulnar deviation. Okay, the hand is held in ulnar deviation. After that we have to do X-ray to make sure that the close reduction is perfect. If it is not perfect or it is imperfect, this will lead to a painful condition, which is osteoarthritis. This is very painful, harmful, so we have to correct the situation by doing open reduction and internal fixation by plate and screws or other maneuvers. Okay, open reduction and internal fixation. So here we can see internal fixation by screw, internal fixation by screw, internal fixation by a plate and screws. So this is how we treat radiocarpal fracture, styloid process fracture of radius by close reduction. If fails, we have to do open reduction and internal fixation. I want just to remind you with some types of dorsal radius fracture. This is collisive fracture, and collisive fracture is a fracture of the head of the radius with dorsal deviation of the fragments. Smith fracture is a fracture of the head of the radius with ventral deviation of the head of the radius. But styloid fracture is a fracture of the styloid process of the radius. So this is styloid or chauffeur's fracture. Again, this is styloid fracture. Just wanted to remind you with these types. In Collins and Smith, the head is affected, and styloid, just the styloid process of the radius. See you in the next video.